7 to 1, are you kidding? 30 to 1, I wish. You got to go back to 1980 for that. Now, many people know that CEO pay is out of control. In the 1980s, it got up to about 34 workers made as much money as one CEO. Research shows that most Americans think that the ratio is like 30 to 1. It's also the case that Americans believe that, the CEO maybe should make more than them. They believe the ratio should be more like 7 to 1. The truth is, it's 339 on the median. 1 to 339. And way, way more than that if you work for McDonald's or Mattel or Kohl's or Yum Foods. Mattel, for example, they have a 5,000 to 1 worker pay ratio. So that means you need 5,000 workers at median pay to equal the pay of the CEO. McDonald's, 3,100. The Gap, 2,900. Yum Brands, 1,300. Kohl's, 1,264. People may go to work, they may work hard all day. They may wear their feet out, wear their backs out. They may work as hard as anybody ever did, and yet their pay is stagnant. Their pay stays where it is, and the CEOs, they just clean up. They just take all kinds of money home. And what this means is that people have to put together 1, 2, and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And it means that CEOs have way more money than they can even spend. And what do they do with it? Well, they buy political influence with it. They use that money in their corporations to do stock buybacks. They do mergers and acquisitions that further concentrate markets and then create barriers to small businesses to get into the market. If you really want to do something about the income inequality and the wealth inequality that our country has right now, which is at historic levels, you've got to do something about CEO pay. We need to get into a conversation about how much is enough. In the 1960s, there were plenty of millionaires. We had an economy that had markets in it. People made money, but the ratio between what the CEO made and what the average worker made was only 20 to 1. Let me also note that the companies have tried to defend themselves. They've said, look, what we're doing is not so bad. And they've come up with essentially 2 arguments. Argument number 1 is that, well, a lot of the workers are part-time. You should know that there are very few people who want to have a part-time job. People want to work full-time. These companies impose part-time work on workers because that allows them to escape the expense of benefits. So they want people to work part-time. They also have another argument, and that is, well, many of these people live overseas and the cost of living is just a lot cheaper there. So what they're really saying is they go to the low-wage, the low-cost sectors so that they can take advantage of people and pay them less. A lot of employees might be wondering, well, what can I do? I thought they were screwing me. Now I know for sure they are. What can I do? Well, what they can do is they can band together. They can start talking, and they can start demanding the wages that they really deserve. They can say, look, we're the ones who make the hamburgers. We got to have a raise. Don't tell me you can't pay me $15 an hour when you're making 3,100 times more than the average worker. Companies cry poor all the time. Oh, we'd love to do it, but we just can't afford it. Well, the truth is they can afford it. They can afford it plenty. Americans need to have an economy that they can thrive in, and that's just not what this report shows. We pose a question with this report: rewarding or hoarding? Because the CEOs say they're just being rewarded for a job well done. Well, I think the report shows that they are hoarding wealth and they're stagnating this economy, and it's time for a change.